Good morning. How are you? Happy Monday. Excuse me. It's half term this week, so I've got a full house here. So yeah, excuse me that I'm a couple of minutes late. What's new with me? Let me think. I have the soil book has gone off for proofreading, so I should get that in the next day or two. Proofreader contacted me yesterday, so she's going through those odds and ends. So that will go off to print this week, I should think. Well, it will. I'll send it off to print. And then what else is going on? I have some. I've been working on the ads that I've been talking about the last few weeks. They've kind of dipped and I'm not sure why. So that's kind of one of the things I'm really, really working on. I'm trying to learn a lot more about marketing because things that I've done paid wise, I think in person I'm all right, but online and paid stuff, I've always really struggled, but I'm starting to get there. So that's really where part of my focus is at the moment. Morning, Mark. Just reading your self-publishing book. Lovely. Yeah, I noticed when I sent that off that I recognise your name. And promoting it. Thank you so much. I don't know if I've spotted you on TikTok, so I will look you up. Yeah, and always tag me and stuff, and I'll always support other authors as well. Excuse the fact my hair's a bit wet. I wasn't up quite as early as I normally am. Normal weekdays, that's better. I like my hair to be a bit scruffy. Normal weekdays, I get up at 6:15, but this morning I wasn't up till about 8, which is wild. Mark says, really not happy with one of my main characters from Mammal Mayhem. The fox and the hamster are okay, but the rabbit is wrong. It takes so much time, and it's funny, isn't it, when you try and explain to people who aren't writers, like, that you're having issues and that it might stress you out. I think people find it quite difficult to understand. Morning to left mouse right. Good morning. So today I am going to be back on the karate book. What a surprise. This is going to take me ages to write. And you might have seen that I put on social media yesterday. Oh, there is actually a copy near me. I thought it was the one to hand. There actually is. That I was published in this magazine about karate. If you don't know, I do karate and have done for about 20 years. My first Dan, hopefully a second Dan soon. So I wrote this article and I'm really pleased. It's like the first article. It's several pages long. There you go. So that's really cool. So I have a couple of copies of that. But yeah, I'm also writing a book about karate because I've done it for a long time. So that's what I'll be up to this morning. I'm actually kind of looking at my schedule for the next few weeks. And it does look like when things settle down, if my best friend is on this, she'll be like, shut up, you always say when things calm down. But after World Book Week, the soil book should be ordered by then. And also the audiobooks that I've been talking about, I've been working on those. I've done 2, I've got another 2 to do, so they'll probably get done this week. At that point, I'm done, like with all of the current projects. So that means that like the karate book, I can spend creative time during my work days working on that. I also have a children's book I've talked about on here. There's another couple of projects possibly looming. And I've had an idea for another book, as if I don't have enough going on. So I can spend some creative time. That is really cool. Does karate prevent you from striking first? Technically, yes. There is no first attack in karate. So technically, yes, everything should start with a block. But personally, my fighting style, because I'm little, I don't know, again, you might not know this because on camera, I'm only 5'2". I have to kind of get in when I'm fighting. So I do tend to fight quite aggressively. Not that I'm particularly good at it. When I did a competition in October last year, I got very soundly beaten up. So like, don't be under any illusions. I'm all right at it, but I'm certainly not amazing. But I very much enjoy Cobra Kai and all of the things. So yeah, I've done karate since I was 17 and I'm nearly 41 now. So that's more than 20 years, isn't it? I did take a break in the middle, but I've decided not to count that because I used to still do bits of karate, like when I was at the gym or just at home and stuff. So it never truly left me. Anyway, let's get on with some writing, because otherwise I will bore you all to tears with karate stuff. So the usual 3 lots of 15-minute sprints. I'm going to pop myself on mute. I'm not going to turn my camera off. I'm going to pop myself on mute. And we'll do some writing all very quickly. Join the conversation, Mark. When I was in my 20s, I was doing hand-to-hand and taught to strike first. I also did boxing. Free running injuries made me stop. Yeah, I am in a club where we really promote like karate for life and look at how it improves our physical and mental well-being. It's a lot about well-being and not really necessarily about competition, although I like competition. As I say, in theory, philosophically, that there is no first strike in karate. But of course, if you had a competition and both of you are like, no, I'm not allowed to strike first, you're not going to get very far. So yeah, it just depends like who you are and what your style is, I think. But anyway, let's do this. I'm going to mute myself. See you all in 15 minutes for a chat. All right, guys, that was 15 minutes. How did you get on? What did you do? I'm just still working through the karate book. You know what? I think it's going to be really cool when I'm done, and I hope that I feel it's something that I would like to publish. I think it's got a place. Yeah, and I'm enjoying writing it, which oftentimes is the main thing. Annoyingly, as always happens, I have other projects that I'm like, oh, I could do that. I'm always like, shiny thing. My washing machine is going and the spin is a bit broken. So apologies if you can hear that, because as we all know, nothing is ever simple. It's not even that old of a washing machine. It's like 6 months old and it makes a complete racket when it's going. All of the coffee today, I tell you. So yeah, I'm enjoying continuing to work on this project, and I'm looking forward to being able to get my head into it more. This week, as I say, is half term, so we're going to be having some days out and crafting, and I don't know. The nice weather makes me want to get outside, but maybe that's a little bit over ambitious considering how icy it was this morning. So yeah, my week is going to be lots of doing stuff with the kids, as well as when they are doing their own thing, taking advantage and doing some work. Left mouse right says trying to work out a problem on my mystery. Yeah, I think part of the issue with my mermaid book that I'm working on is plot. And every time I go back to it, I get to a certain point and I'm like, oh, it's a bit rubbish. Just needs to be like cleverer. At the moment, it's not. But yeah, do have quite a lot of projects on the go. But the soil book is nearly done. It is. Sorry, I keep messing with my hair. This is what I do when it's drying. Yeah, it's fully edited. I had some issues with the cover. Basically, I finished the cover and sent it around people, and people were like, yeah, it looks all right, it's good, yeah, cool. And something was bothering me, and then I worked on it some more, basically just changing like headings and fonts and titles, moving stuff around. And again, people were like, it's one of those where they're like, oh, it looks really good, but that bit, like, I don't think you could have done anything different, but like they could see the things that were kind of bothering me, but equally I couldn't find a way to solve them. And the only way I can describe it is like my brain was itching. Like there was just something. And I put the cover on a critique group and was like, have at it. And I find that really hard. I actually want to make a video about criticism, like accepting criticism, putting yourself out there, because it feels very vulnerable. And also when it's on social media, there's that thing where like my phone is going to beep at me when I'm not in a working frame of mind, and I really don't need to read criticisms about my work, because then I'm thinking about, oh, well, what about this? And if I did that. Anyway, I went back to Rhiannon, the illustrator, and was like, if you were able to make this small change, then I would be able to do this. What do you think? And she was like, oh, yeah, I can do that. So she made some changes. I made some changes. And then it was like, I looked at it and it didn't itch anymore. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like, oh, that's better. Yes. And I sent it to the same kind of friends of mine who do a bit of like beta reading and stuff for me, and they were like, yeah, that's it, that's what we were all like. And it was good before, but now it's like spot on. So I'm really pleased with that. So that's done. All the edits in the actual book are done. So once I've got the proofreads back, and that should be minimal, 'tis done. And then I'll send it off to be printed, and then hopefully it comes back looking how I expect it to look, and that we don't need to sort of tweak any color profiles or anything like that, because it's always hard to say whether in person it's going to look how it does on the screen. So we shall see. But yeah, that is the plan over the next little while. So as I say, proofread should come back next day or two. I then put those into action. I then order a proof. Then I will receive the proof next week. So at some point over the coming weeks, there'll be a book unboxing and a cover reveal. But yeah, and I mean, we're coming up for World Book Week, so a lot of my focus is on that too. I've got 5 school visits plus 2 talks in the evenings. So it is full on, and I'm going to have to do a lot of prep to just make sure everything's ready to go. And I was thinking about vlogging it, and obviously I won't be able to film in the schools, but I thought I could sort of show the prep and the planning and the slow descent into insanity. So let me know if you'd like to see that, because I thought it would be kind of fun to show, like, the most intense week. World Book Week is the busiest week in my year, so it's going to be like really, really full on, but I'm excited for it. It's one of those when, you know, it might sound like I'm kind of going, oh, I don't want to do it. I massively want to do it and I can't wait. And it's really exciting. But there is that like anticipatory, this is going to be a lot and I have to prep now. So it's all going to be copable with. And I know that at the end of it, I'm going to be buzzing. So yeah, it's exciting. Right. So I'm going to carry on with the karate book. So it will be another 15 minutes. Let me know if the timing of this is okay, because I know other people do like longer or shorter sprints, but to me, it's like you just get a little bit done and then you can kick back. It just feels comfortable. But I'm always willing to listen to other people's, you know, if you'd rather to write for longer without interruption, or you'd like longer breaks, or you'd like more sprints, or, you know, just let me know. I'm happy to go with the flow on that one. Anyway, let's get into another 15 minutes and see what we get done. So good luck, guys, and I'll chat to you in a bit. Okay, guys, that was another 15 minutes. It was actually slightly longer because my washing machine was spinning and it sounded like a rocket was going to take off. So it was more like 16 minutes, but hey, who's counting? Yeah, I have ended up going back to the beginning of my karate book and sort of reading through it, because actually really I think that's what I need to do. I've talked about this before, but I've been kind of going into little sections of it and writing a bit of this and a bit of that and making myself notes, and I feel like now I need to actually read through it a little bit and get more of a sense of how it's coming together, because I've written it in quite a bitty kind of a way. But yeah, that's what I'm up to. Mark says, left mouse right, the plot issue could be someone's mistaken perspective. Interesting. I love that. Yeah, so for me, that's the thing, because writing non-fiction. Oh, my brain today is sort of about how I weave facts into a narrative. And so for me, it's a combination of doing the research, making sure the research is correct, presenting it in a way that it makes sense, but also in a way that's very readable because there's a narrative through it. So at the moment, it's like I've got all these bits of information and it needs to actually be woven together. So yeah, that's what I'm up to there. After this live sprint, I'm actually doing an interview for my YouTube channel, which is going to be really cool. I'm not going to tell you who I'm interviewing. But yeah, this weekend's video is going to be an interview, and it's going to be really, really helpful for indie authors, because my YouTube channel is predominantly for fellow authors. And I don't know if you saw this weekend, I did an update on my braces. Haven't got that much time left on them, thank goodness. It's been 2 years and they're coming off in May. So hooray. But yeah, I vlogged my most recent appointment, not in the room. I probably could, but I feel super awkward about going in and being like, hey, can I film this? I'm not quite that brazen. And I think maybe if YouTube was like, I don't know, I feel maybe if the financial gain was higher, perhaps I would be brave enough to be like, look, let's do this. But I don't know, it feels weird and I can't overcome it with, as I say, if the financial gain was higher, I'd be a bit like, well, let's just do this. And I think it would be different if I could go up and be like, this is my job. Would it be okay if I do this as part of my job? Because it feels like it is a part of my job, but I don't know. I get the fear. I'm all right vlogging in public a little bit. So I might, if I've got like a day out, I might film walking down the street if it's not too busy, or film bits and pieces of our day. Sometimes I'm okay about it, but something like that where I'm like going into an appointment and I'm going to have to ask permission of the people in there, and then that's like super weird, and would they have to sign like I don't know, I just get really uncomfortable about it. So it is just me sort of talking about the appointment and like, yeah, just reflecting live on what's going on, not live at the time I filmed it, if that makes any sense at all. So anyway, I have been documenting the experience, and lots of people seem to have found it helpful, which is really nice, because I know that when I was looking at getting braces, I was trying to find out more about what it might be like, and just so that I could anticipate how difficult it was going to be and how long it was going to take, and yeah, just what that journey, I hate the word journey, what that might entail. So I think people have found it quite helpful, which is nice. So I do sometimes, sorry, I've got that might have been loud, just needed to move something. I do sometimes do like lifestyle-y type stuff, or travel, or just things I think might be interesting. When we go away as a family, I will be filming that. My kids really like it, which is nice. They like watching back the trips that we go on. So that's my plan. Let's see, left mouse right says, yes, I was struggling if I had the right POV, but also feeling like my characters are running around like chickens. Yeah. Isn't it weird how they sort of have their own life? Do you know, I find the process of writing so fascinating, that there's just nothing on the page, and then there is something on the page. And it's just like, and that you're like a conduit to it. I find it so interesting. That's, I think, why I really liked Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, because she really talks about that. And I'm not someone that massively believes in anything sort of woo-woo. Like I just, but there's something that happens that's just odd. And I know, sure, you can explain it by psychology and how, you know, somebody takes how somebody gets ideas and then they add their experiences and whatever, and in a certain frame of mind they can, but there is a sense of magic about it, and I just find it really, really interesting. If you haven't read that book, I personally really liked it. Obviously everything's subjective, but for me it kind of explained a sense of what I feel of like this thing around creation of any art form. I think it's so interesting. But yeah, there we go. All right, should we do our last 15 minutes? Let's get started on it. I'll chat with you again at the end as usual. So let's go. All right, guys, and that is the end of that writing sprint. So I have been working my way back through the manuscript, which is definitely what I needed to do. And I've just ended up, I found the bit where I'd written about loads of history and is missing stuff. So I've started working through that bit. I think I need to like just systematically go through what I've written and make it make sense. So that was going really well for me. My phone, as you can hear, is finally working. I broke my phone, so I'm on a spare, but the spare doesn't charge very well. And it only charges off of my laptop. And it has literally taken that entire time to turn on, let alone be charged. So that's fun. Let's see. Mark is off to work. No worries. And left mouse right says, gonna take a look. Oh, I missed a comment. Mark was talking about characters having mistaken perspectives in the 90s film, The Usual Suspects. Do you know what? I haven't seen that. I used to work in a video rental shop. It was an independent one, not a chain. And it was such a cool experience. Maybe I should write something set in that video shop. It doesn't exist anymore. Obviously, video shops don't exist anymore. But I have a lot of fond memories of working there. I worked there as a teenager. I was weekend staff. And then when I went to university, when I came back, I was like the daily staff for a little while. And it was a really fun place to work. And the rules were you were allowed to have a film on as long as it was PG, or if it was higher, you had to turn it off when someone came in. So sometimes when it was quiet, you could just sit and watch a film. But I used to do homework and things like that, or sit and read. I'd do all sorts of stuff. But I watched so many films. So there are loads of films from, gosh, when would I have worked there? Probably about 98, 99 through to 2002, probably thereabouts. And then occasionally again, like 2003, 2004, I would have done little stints there when I was home for the holidays. And so I watched a lot of films because we were allowed to take a film. So if it was something new, because they didn't want, obviously, somebody who was paying to not be able to rent a film out, you could take it at the end of your shift and return it before the shift the next morning. But if it was something older, that was fine. Or you could pay, like that was fine too. But if you wanted to watch something for free. So I would take a film home after most sessions, and then go home and watch stuff. And sure, there were certain films that I watched over and over again. And Usual Suspects, I guess it's not massively my kind of film, which is why I hadn't watched it. But I feel like there's like a huge period of time where I watched so much stuff. And at the time, I was really into like cult classics. I've watched some really weird films as well. And I feel like I'm only just starting to get back into watching stuff. My husband and I have worked through like a lot of Palme d'Or winners. We both like stuff made by like Canal Plus. Last night we watched, what was it called? Whiplash, which was really good. It's like 10 years old. It's about a drummer. Really, really good film. I really enjoyed it. We watched The Apprentice the other day, which obviously is a bit tricky to watch at the moment, but I thought that was a really good film. I went to watch Bridget Jones yesterday with my mum. So I can't remember why I'm talking to you about films. Oh, because Mark said about The Usual Suspects, which I haven't seen. So I always find it weird when there's like an older, oh, my phone is ringing. I'm going to put that on silent. Sorry, guys. And it goes through on there. Sorry. Kills that. What was I saying? Films. Haven't seen that, even though it's an older film. So what we used to have was, so we had the films, because they were videos, right? We had a few DVDs, and as I worked there longer, there were more DVDs, but it was mostly videos, VHS. We had like a whole wall of shelves of VHS, and initially they were on these shelves where you would slide the films on. So if you wanted a film in the middle, a video in the middle, you'd have to slide all the cases off to get that one, slide them all back on. And it was quite annoying. If you pushed them too far, they'd all like fall off. And then my boss got new shelves where they sat like this. So they were like layered up. And honestly, every single shift, somebody would go to take a case off and all of the films would just fall on them. And you'd have to be like, I'm so sorry. But we also had these sections where there were videos in little They were like in flat plastic cases, and we called them flick throughs because you could like flick through them like this. And there were hundreds and hundreds of older films. So the newer films would be on the big shelves, and then the older ones were ones you just like flicked through. And then they'd bring the piece of plastic to me, and then I'd get the actual video off of the shelves behind. Because obviously all the cases were empty, so people didn't nick them. We had the actual videos behind. So yeah, that was what we did. And all those older films, I used to work my way through all of them. So yeah, used to watch a lot of films. But you know, when you have kids, just time. I mean, it's not unusual for us to only have like half an hour to watch stuff in the evening. So you know, now the kids are a bit older, we're getting to spend a bit more time watching things. Anyway, that was a cool story, I'm sure. But shout out to video shops, because there's so much joy in those memories. Like spending an hour with a bunch of mates trying to decide what you were going to take home, especially if you had someone who watched a lot of stuff. And obviously as a member of staff, I would watch people doing that, arguing over what they wanted to watch. And it was kind of expensive to hire films as well. And yeah. Anyway, right, I'm going to go. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll be here again next week. I'll set the pre-reminder thingy so that you can click it to remind you when I'm going live. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope you got some useful stuff done, and have a lovely week, whether you're half-terming it or whether you are working as usual. Yeah, just have a good one, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.